Hello, welcome back to Currency. I am your host and your guest today. I'm your guest host. I'm your host guest. I'm the guest host today, but I'm just going to let the guest talk today. I'll let the guest say what they had to say. Here comes the guest and the host. And you get both. You get the best of both worlds. I'm kind of like Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana, and don't get lost on that fact or that tidbit, that blurb. You don't need to get lost on that blurb that I'm like Miley Cyrus. Don't lose yourself in it, because that's not what's important about why I'm here to talk to you about the things that I'm talking to you about today. And something that I was thinking about was that when they win the Masters and they give them the green jacket, what if it was like kind of like in the movie Idiocracy, when in the future everything is like taken over by advertisements? I think that you got to watch out. Like, they might make you put on what if they made you put on a Starbucks apron instead of a green jacket, because like Augusta National was sponsored by Starbucks. But it's like, how bleak of a future would that be, given that Augusta National is such a specific like standard in American culture? Augusta National and the Masters is so unique and like rare, whatever. And but the reason I bring that up is because because I see when somebody wins the Masters, and I see what CBS does to the players, or just what sports does to players, what network TV makes the players and coaches do when they make them do interviews. And they basically ask them all the interview questions that they don't want to be asked. Like, that seems to be the duty of reporters on network TV today, is just like be as nasty as possible. Or, if reporters and journalists still exist now, because it's like everybody is a journalist online on social media. Social media has made it that everybody is a journalist. We don't need standardized journalism anymore. So we don't need like CNN or like ABC News. But it's just funny how the athletes and coaches always have to sit in front of the reporters. But the whole place of reporters now, because they don't need to exist, is just to like, let's ask them exactly what they don't want to be asked. Like, let's get in their head. And that's what I saw watching the Masters, like interviews and stuff. I wonder how it's like, look like the players are required to do a certain number of interviews. They have Bryson DeChambeau doing an interview like after every round that they put online, and it's like part of the official Masters YouTube channel, where they detain Bryson DeChambeau and they put him in front of a giant background still frame of like the 12th hole at the Masters at Augusta National, and that's just like the background. But it's like they make him they make him answer to reporters for like 20 minutes after every round, like the Masters does. It's because it's kind of like something that this country does to the people that are really famous, where it's like, well, we need to show the nation that they're still under our thumb and they still answer to us, because like people are getting threatened by their talent and their level of fame. Someone like Bryson DeChambeau. But I mean, it's not Bryson. They do it to a number of the golfers. I don't know if they just do it to the most. It seemed like they just made this happen for the most famous of them, the best golfers. They make them at the end of each round or whatever. But I'm talking about how they're like demeaning the winner a little bit. They're demeaning the people that are best at the game, or they're like belittling the experience for everyone. And then like when Rory McIlroy wins, CBS has to take on this narrative, has to be like above him and criticize him for it. Like, I'm saying that there's a small token that Rory McIlroy has to pay for winning, which is that he has to sit in front of a reporter or multiple, and those reporters tell him exactly how it was for him. They're like, well, we're narrating your experience because you did this on our network, so it's ultimately our narrative. So like whatever it was for you, it's gonna be the way that we say it, or something like that. And I know you probably think I'm crazy, is like nobody cares about the way that a network portrays it or anything after the fact. I'm just talking about that they can go further and further, and that would be something to be concerned about, because as long as they are clowning on the winner a little bit, what if like they just made it? What if in the future it got to the point? What if like Starbucks owned Augusta National, like that was the sponsor at some point in the future, and then Starbucks changed it to be like, well, now you wear a green apron. Where it's like, what if they gradually kept belittling the experience? Because it's like Rory McIlroy sits in front of a reporter after he wins, and she's like, this is exactly what you wanted. Everything you dreamed of has led up to this moment, and like it all went down perfectly, and like that's the story is over, and you did it, whatever. The 11-year wait for you to win your next major. This is like exactly how, like, they're acting like he planned it out this way, and it's like, yeah, it's bullshit because it was always going to happen. I'm just saying the way that they belittle it after the fact, and any reporters do that no matter what. Because they're just asking, and it's like when during the Masters is when I'm talking about they asked Bryson DeChambeau all these questions, and McIlroy and other big names, and they're basically just trying to get in the person's head, because the place of reporters at this point is just like, let's see if we can fuck them up, because their industry is in such shit that they're just kind of like being as nasty or as clickbaity as possible or whatever, and so they're just like trying to ask Bryson DeChambeau all the worst questions, like, oh, what are you thinking right before you hit a drive, and like whatever, like all this I mean, they're the pros at asking shitty questions, but I'm saying like just the fact that Rory McIlroy wins the Masters, and then as he's walking back to the clubhouse or whatever, they put the camera on him right in front of him the entire time as he's walking forward. Like he's trying to get out of being on camera. He's been on camera the final round of the Masters. He's been on camera the last like 6 hours, and then he won, and then the camera's got to follow him after he won, like, oh, show his face, make him celebrate for an entire 3 minutes, and it's completely ridiculous and unnatural to force him to do that. It's like, if you just let it go, because not that they're ruining it, not that you would ever like, oh, I'm not going to win the Masters because I don't want to deal with that. Not any of that. But I'm saying, like, if you keep going in that direction, you might not want to win the Masters if it's like, oh, they put a Starbucks apron on you, because they're just kind of like, they need to enforce that, like, they're clowning on you, and that you have to like take the joke of that and along, because it's part of the tradition and part of the experience. And I'm saying it's bullshit that they like, oh, show Rory on camera so he has to like fake cry and celebrate, fake cry for like 3 minutes because the camera's right in his face as he's walking. And that's just CBS belittling the experience for the winner, and like making them pay well, you have to pay this price for doing what you did because you wanted to be on camera, right? So like, that's why we're going to detain you, and we're going to question you. Like, basically they make the golfers under arrest to Augusta National, where it like, and they probably do it more at the Masters than any other place, because the Masters is so iconic, and it's so identified, and it's so specific. It's the most iconic, it's the most TV worthy golf tournament in the world. It's the most that a golf tournament is a TV show, and it's the most American. It's the most American golf tournament in the world. It's the most American major, even though there's the U.S. Open. You would think the U.S. Open was the most American major. It's not, because that's open to everyone. The Masters is like really specifically American. The U.S. Open is open to everybody in the entire world. I know it's like the United States Open as opposed to the British Open or whatever, but I mean, the Masters is so American that it's hard for like a Rory McIlroy to win it, and that's why it was the last one that he wins. It's very hard for the English to win, British people to win the Masters, because it's the most American one. And what you see with Rory McIlroy is like, some of it is like the awkwardness of him becoming an American, but it's like, at the point he wins the Masters is like, we have officially accepted him as an American, that he would win that. Everybody besides Nick Faldo, has trouble winning the Masters if you're British. Everybody else, forever, it's very hard. And no Irish person had ever won it, and still hasn't, because Rory McIlroy's Northern Irish. No Northern Irish or Irish person had ever won the Masters. It's because of the American crowd at Augusta National, And the reason Rory was able to do it is because that crowd really embraced him and was like, narrated him to victory. They're like, no, you're going to win. Even though McIlroy was fighting it down the stretch, the crowd had decided, no, you're going to win. And they helped him out quite a bit. They embraced him because they're like, you're an American now, whether you like it or not. And Rory McIlroy, whatever, he's an only child, and he's a little socially awkward, but he kind of is like Kobe Bryant in that way. He's like a socially awkward greatness star kind of thing. So that's one of the things. That's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Like, when they detain people, make them report because America needs the fucking stars to answer for their actions. Like, oh, you wanted to be on camera this much? Not just that. If you're like Bryson DeChambeau and you're winning U.S. Opens, like, oh, you don't just want to be on camera, you want to be like famous. We definitely have some questions for you. And America needs to know. America needs to see that you are under our control and you have to answer to reporters, because otherwise we don't know what you're. I mean, otherwise you're just like threatening Jesus's dominance, basically. But because America's so Christian like that, Augusta National, and it's just like the TV show. That's why it's the most American one, is because it is a TV show, and it's a TV show because it's the only major that they hold it at the same course every single year. And because of that, the course at Augusta National, the Masters, becomes a TV set, like a sitcom or a drama, like a TV set with the same scenes all the time. And so, and because it's held on TV every year, it's really just as like a big TV show, more so than it's a golf tournament. But that's why, in my opinion, it's the best one, is because that's the greatest major, and because it's the first one of the year as well. That's the best golf tournament, is because it really just like, it becomes a TV show more. So it's really about like becoming a Hollywood celebrity. Like, winning that thing is more about becoming a celebrity than any other one. The rest of them are like U.S. Open, British Open. That's just like, oh, it's a golf tournament that's open to anybody. The same way as a golf course is. Like, that's why they call all of those golf tournaments opens, is because because a golf course is so open. Like, golf as a sport is so open, and there's so much downtime. It's so like relaxed. Like, the amount of time you spend on a golf course, and it's just like open to nature, and it's not as closed off. But Augusta National is more closed society than other golf events. They don't even call it an open. Notice that as well. They just call it the Masters. That speaks to how iconic it is, or that it's like what you're being a part of is more of a closed society, and it's very difficult to get to play at Augusta National because of the sanctity of the club, whatever. And it's more of a closed off thing, and whatever the tradition. It's a tradition unlike any other. And just like this podcast is, it's a tradition unlike any other. But that Masters already took that tagline, so I got to use a different one. It's a tradition somewhat like other traditions. That's my podcast. A tradition that is like other traditions. Currency. A tradition. That's what I should call it. It's a tradition. It's a tradition. It's not the tradition. Nothing's. Who said there's anything special about it? Not me. I didn't say it was special. I just carried myself like it might be, in and around doing it on camera and off, in my own mind. I didn't say that I was smart. I might have said I was smart a number of times, but like, I'm dumb and I'm smart, but the reason why I might be more dumb than smart is because I didn't think about that I was dumb until I was like 28 or 29 years old. It didn't occur to me like, oh, you're dumb alongside being smart. Like, up until that point, I just thought that I was only smart or whatever. That's just because that's what everybody told me. But it's like, if somebody somebody's walking around that's able to be gaslit into thinking that they're smart for that long, that they don't think about how that they're dumb until they're 28. Like, that's a dumb person in real life. Like, how I'm dumb, like like whatever. Oh, I didn't think about that, but I'm dumb and suggestible, but like it's but not realizing that you're dumb. I'm just telling you, like, you don't have to think that I'm trying to be smart, because I'm giving you evidence to why, like, maybe I'm actually more dumb than I am smart. But dumb is cool now, and smart is just kind of like educated, and education is going out the window. Goodbye, education. And we don't care about education anymore. We don't care about it. We don't care about... That's how that song goes. We don't need no education. It's a pop song. By Madonna. Madonna sang that. Remember when Madonna sang Another Brick in the Wall? It was kind of fucked everything up when she did that. But so yeah. But I had Josh Osani, two of my friends on here, Josh Oshani and Eddie Sherman. They were on here a couple episodes ago. They were asking me about this point I was making about niceness, and I wanted to explain that point because after reviewing the tape, I realized that I didn't explain my point really at all. In case you didn't catch any of it in that episode, I was talking about how Charlie Sheen said winning, among a number of other things, in an interview he gave on TV a number of years ago. On TV, same one of these things I was just talking about, where it's like if some celebrity is getting too big for their britches, America sends reporters out to, like, oh, interview him, and then, like, in Charlie Sheen's case, like, oh, we found out that he was crazy, and so therefore it's illegal, like, we put him in prison, which is a popular way of saying it now online. Like, that's a meme, or just a way of criticizing other people. That's like a way of hating on people, getting people, is saying, you said this, and so now, like, oh, well, you're in prison, you're in prison socially. If you say some of the wrong things, you do something really fucking weird, it's like you're in prison now to the rest of us, because we're like, you can't do that in society. And we put Charlie Sheen in prison because he had too crazy of an interview in, like, the year 2006 or something like that. And this America was more closed-minded then. In 2006, they were more rigid about this kind of shit because it was more like we were answering to Hollywood. And so Hollywood was like, oh, we don't like you, Charlie Sheen. And America thought it was hilarious that Charlie Sheen was crazy so much. They were like, we can write you off forever, you big dumb fuck, because you said things that we don't understand. And when it's really like Charlie Sheen is smarter than the public to say some of the things he did in that interview. But it's like, there's not necessarily a point he was making when he said winning, which was just like phrase he said. But I take that to mean, like, since everybody in the nation, everybody's trying to win, you can say winning the same as any other word that you say all of the time, like nice or cool or great, because it's like the reason that we say nice no matter what in every situation, where it's like easy default thing to do. Not that we don't have something else to say, it's just like that's popular and we want to be cool. So you say nice, even though nice isn't like that cool. Apparently it is. Nice is actually really cool. And the reason I bring this up about nice is mostly just to harp on nice and try to explain nice, because at this moment, I'm a bit consumed by it, thinking about how we are all surrounded by it and how suffocating it is. It's kind of like love or cool, or it's kind of like love, that everybody agrees that it's acceptable, but it's like, because you see when Ellen DeGeneres, we find out that she's mean, we're like, oh shit, she's mean, we don't ever have to watch or pay attention to her ever again, because we found out that she's mean. Oh, got ya. And so what I'm talking about is mostly that. It's like, why is it, why are you under arrest if you're not nice in society? Which is, and so to figure out that out, I want to expand on nice. Like, what is niceness? Why is it so broad? Why does it apply to everything? But it's like, the reason you can say nice in so many situations when you're texting so many different people, and like nice always applies, is because in polite society, or in just like the world where you're getting together with people, you're expected to be nice. So you can always tag it. You can always tag nice. Yep. I don't want to make it that I'm being condescending, or like, see, this is the way it is. But I guess that's what I get into. I want to say about nice that it's like nostalgic, but I'm saying nice is everywhere. And when you say it, you're just tagging it. In other words, you're just speaking to the environment. And the environment is always like that. We're always surrounded by nice. It's on you. That's why you can say whenever it's on you, it's on the person you're talking to, it's on all of us. We can't get it off. Because like, you're expected to be that. And it's really kind of like an addiction that society has to nice. It's an addiction that is not necessarily healthy, because actually it's really good to be mean. Mean really has an important place in society. Like, Steve Jobs was mean to create the iPhone, because that's how much he had to go outside of society. That's how much he had to transcend customs and norms to do something that transcendent, to create the iPhone and like then transform all of our lives. He had to be really mean to do that. He had to whatever, who knows what he had to do to all of the people working below him to get them moving in the direction of creating that thing. Like in business, like to be that successful in business, you'd imagine how cutthroat he'd have to be, even though he's like on the surface you would see Steve Jobs and he's like giving positive speeches or whatever. That guy's pretty cutthroat, or any CEO. But I'm just saying, business sense declares that you have to be mean, because you have to separate yourself. And being mean is being individualistic, being different from the group, or saying that you have something more to say than the group. Being mean means being mean to the group, because the group is always nice. When you're around, the group is nice always. And it's like, I just have a lot of questions about this, because I see it play out in my own life. With people, is just like the expectation to be nice is like kind of killing me, or not really. I mean, it could kill you. It's not really like, I don't find that it was damaging to me in any way, but I'm just talking about like traditions. Like, if I get together with my family, especially family holidays are supposed to be really nice. And you're even nicer there than you're nicer with your family than you are with your friends. I feel like that's my experience with it. And I don't know if that's everybody's experience, but when you get together on holidays and with your relatives, I mean, I guess you're nicer with, yeah. Anyways, I think that niceness is nostalgic. Like, that's one of the characteristics of it, because in order to carry on a tradition that you don't need to carry on, that it's like, well, your ancestors have been carrying on, our ancestors have been carrying on this tradition of like celebrating Christmas, for example, and like all of the specific things about that, like putting up the tree or making Christmas cookies, anything, putting up lights on your house, all of the traditions surrounding it make Christmas very nostalgic and make it very nice. And that it's just that you're nice to uphold those traditions, because you don't have to, because you're like respecting the tradition. You're respecting something laid out by people that aren't even in your life. Or it's like, this began 500 years ago, and you're nice to carry that out. Or it's like Augusta National also is nice within itself to continue to carry out that tradition. It's like nice is positive like that. but it's just like how Christmas, it part of the tradition is like agreeing that being around family is the greatest, and of course that's nice, and of course it's positive. But I'm talking about so niceness is nostalgic because you're really nice to be nice no matter what, and like you're not gonna be mean when you're giving gifts or whatever, and just an aside, and I'll get back to the Charlie Sheen nice connection in a minute. But like getting gifts on Christmas is actually kind of annoying because I often get something that's not like particularly what I wanted, and so it's like you ask somebody, I want these things, and then they get you one and it's like not the color that you wanted, and then you're in a position to be like, I don't want this. And it's funny how we're all expected to just like, okay, well, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit about your Christmas gifts because like people are so paranoid about you not looking grateful. So it's like you have to be like, yay, about all of the gifts. Not that you have to, like, I mean, if you're close enough with your family, you can just be like, I hate this sucks afterward. But when it's like the thing that you wanted, but it's just like not the right color, there's reason to get angry about that. And what makes me angry, like Christmas makes me angry like that, getting gifts in that way makes me angry. Because you're not allowed to be angry about it. Because now I'm like, oh, like it's sad. It's sad that you would get a gift and it's like such this happy thing that somebody would be nice enough to give that to you, but like you don't get to feel the happiness of it because it's not what you wanted. I feel like that happens to me all the time when it's like there's just not enough communication about this gift giving because we're all just like expected to go along with it. And because it's like when you see there are these videos of like someone was given a car, like a kid was given a car, and it's like not the car they wanted, and then the kid is like screaming or crying or whatever, they're like throwing a fit, and then everybody online is like, how fucking dare that kid like not want this Kia or whatever, not want this like they wanted a BMW but they got an Audi or whatever. And that's the way it is for all gift giving. Like, that's an extreme example of it. But I'm talking about how everybody online will be like, fuck this kid and fuck kids today because you don't ever get to... They gave you a car. I would have loved to be given a car. I wouldn't have cared what kind of car it was. When it's like, first of all, if these kids they're probably from a rich family. They probably wanted a certain kind of car. Like, if that was me, I would have been fucking pissed too. If I wanted an Audi and got a BMW... Like, oh, you gave me a car, but not the right one? Like, that's such a power move. Like, oh, but you have to like this, you know? And not that anybody meant for it to be a power move, but it's just like... It's just this, like, bullshit about gratitude. It's like... Of course I want particularly the thing that I want. So it's not like, why is it necessary we have to pretend that it was really awesome? It's because of polite society, they expect you to be nice about it, but everybody wants everyone to just, like, take their lumps. It's like, yeah, well, you got your gift, so I don't... Like, gift giving is kind of aggressive, can be aggressive, and more needs to be spoken of about that. And, I'm saying, like, it doesn't apply to rich families. Like, you are just in as much a position to do that when you're poor and you get a gift, like, something that you didn't quite want. And it's sad. And that kind of sadness is what, like, niceness is and what nostalgia is. Because there's sadness right around the corner that everybody is denying. When it comes to nice, why they have to keep tagging nice. It's like, nope, everything's nice. It's because the dark side of that is the sadness. Where it's like, if you're not being nostalgic, like, oh, we're engaging in nostalgia, like, during all of these holidays and shit. Like, right around the corner is just, like, the dark reality of life where you're not celebrating these holidays. Because the holiday is just a vacation where you're pretending that your life isn't your life. And like that's what everybody's doing all the time with niceness when they're overusing it. Like it makes it so that just in public or on social media, I mean, it's often criticized about social media that everybody's putting out the pictures that they want where they look happy, or like cropping out all the sadness, which is true, but like that's not just social media, that's life because of niceness, where it's like it's weird how close by sadness is, because all that like nostalgia is sad. And what I'm trying to talk about, what role does sadness play, and how like is sadness dictating us, causing us to act in weird ways, be like, oh no, everything's great, because sadness is kind of behind it. We're like, that's manipulating us because we're afraid of it, probably true. But I'm saying, like, Charlie Sheen said winning, that's almost like a critique on nice, which is the same point that I'm making. The point that I'm doing is like, I want to make fun of nice. And like, not that Charlie Sheen was making fun of nice, he wasn't. I don't know what his intention was, but he's like, winning, that's the same thing as cool. It's the same thing as like, oh, cool, because you can tag, same as he tagged winning, and he's able to, like, it would be the same, because you can say winning to anybody in any situation in polite society, because everybody's trying to win, and that's why we're being nice and like positive, because like, oh, we're on the winning side of it, we're not losers here. And so you could, I'm saying, technically speaking, you could do winning in all of the places we do nice, if it was like if it became trendy. Nice is the trendy one, cool is the trendy, those are trendy right now. But what I'm saying is not just winning. If we graduated to winning and then all kinds of words, or more importantly, graduated to just tagging things in terms of words instead of sentences, because words are more efficient, because a lot of the time when you're talking to somebody, you're just like trying to say one key word, but you have to put an entire sentence around it. Like, that's all of the comments I leave on Twitter, is like Douglas Murray, the authoritarian guy who went on Joe Rogan. I made a comment about like a clip of him being on Joe Rogan, and I called him an authoritarian, and basically said like that's his only argument, because his only argument is like, well, you have to listen to the experts no matter what, and like if you haven't been to Israel, you don't get to talk about it like I do. That's his argument. Like, you're not an expert on it, you've never even been there. So I called him an authoritarian, but in the comment I made, but I had to put like sentences around it. I couldn't just put the word authoritarian. I could have, but like, people expect more out of you. But I'm talking about graduating to a world where we're just tagging words, but it's a tag because you're talking about what is already there. So I'm saying, let's graduate to all kinds of different words that we say all the time that describe the way that it is already there. Like stigma, for example, is, in my opinion, this is what I didn't explain, is stigma is always there for you, for everybody, especially if you're somebody more in the public eye, or somebody who's trying, like me, making this podcast, I'm trying. That's more stigmatizing, but it's just like the more you're in public or saying words at all around people, that's cringe. To be talking, it's like, oh, you said words because you had to choose something, you had to choose some style of words, so like you had to say something, and that's stigmatizing, and that's cringe that you're talking, like, ew, because that style, like, why are you trying? Why are you putting yourself out there? The more specific kind of words you use, the more cringe that it is, the more that you're like individualizing yourself and not being trendy. Like, oh, not that all style is cringe, but obviously it's not. But it's like, that's kind of the way that people are using it, because people are overusing cringe to mean that. People are using it just to mean like, oh, you put something forward. You put yourself in our faces online. That's cringe. And it is like, it's like cringe. Cringe is another word you could use all the time. We might as well just say that instead of cool. Oh, cringe. Because everything is cringe and stigmatizing. Like, and I'm saying, when you put yourself online more, and you're more like, I'm here to say something because I had something to say. which is cringe. That's stigmatizing every time. Everything you say is stigmatizing. The more specific it is to you, is the more stigmatizing it is. But I'm like saying, technically speaking, you could say stigma for everything because people are underusing stigma. They don't get that stigma. They don't understand its utility. They don't understand the power it has, and that's something I'm trying to bring light to. And it's just fascinating to me, this endless, like, the stigma about people don't use it because there is a stigma around it, the stigma, and I'm trying to unearth stigma. But I'm criticizing stigma while doing that too, by talking about what I'm talking about, because I'm like, stigma, you're a good boy, you're not a bad boy. Everybody thinks stigma's a bad boy, that it's in prison all the time. But that's a lot of what I do on this podcast, is that I say that the word is not just negative, but that it's also positive. But I try to bring to light that territory of that word, like, oh, this word is also positive over here, and everybody's ignoring it. But that's the way that all words evolve in our relationship to them, our relationship to ideas. They always, a lot of them, and if they have especially if they have a long lifespan, they will start off negative, and then society will gradually see it to be positive. Or they'll start off positive and society will gradually see it to be negative. But that's like the case a lot of the time, is that there's a lot of these words that haven't made that turn yet. And I'm talking about how a stigma is a positive. Actually, it's kind of just like style, because it's just like everything is stigmatizing when you think about it. But nobody, but that's what I bring into the equation by seeing good and evil to be like equal, or that's just a basis for that's what I believe in. Same as the Freemasons do. I don't really think evil is that evil. I think good and evil are the same. But like the good and the bad of the word are the same. Stigma's not. I look at stigma, I don't criticize, I don't judge, you know? So you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't either. But I'm saying, like, since I'm the one to think of that could be my style. That's like my word, I say stigma. But style is the same way. You just like style, because anytime you see anybody do anything, if they're putting themselves forward at all, it is style. And that's what is always the case in polite society, is style, and is stigma, because you're like stigmatizing yourself to put shit forward. Style. It's like style is the same as when Charlie Sheen said winning. It's the same thing. Like style, because that's what you did just now. If you said anything to me at all, or presented yourself in any sort of way, style, or me talking back to you, style. And so I had a bone to pick with myself because I didn't explain the point a couple episodes ago. The adult world is weirder, and like people don't like what I'm doing necessarily, because it's not based on a large religion. I'm raising my own hype, raising my own happiness on my own happiness. Happenings are occurring. Happenings are occurring over here in my little corner of the world. I'm saying happenings are occurring. I'm raising my own happiness, and that is something that people do not like. They don't like hype. They don't like, oh, you're confident in and of yourself. That's not based on anything. That's nonsense. That's crap. That's bullshit, you know? That's crap, and it's bullshit, and it's shit, and it's doo-doo, and it's diarrhea, and it's constipation shits. The kind of shit that results from constipation, and also the kind that results from diarrhea. That's what they say. They say all of those, it's 40 different poops or whatever. And that's not fair. That's not fair because it's just that people don't get what they don't understand. I mean, it's just that they want it to be based on like a big ass religion. They don't want my own they don't want me raising happiness. That's why it's bad to be gay. And that's why we hate gay. It's because of the church. But it's not about the church hating men having sex with men, women having sex with women. It's not about that. It's about the church hating people who create their own narratives. people who raise their own happiness, raise their own gayness on their own. Like, happenings are occurring over here. That's what I'm saying. But society's like, no, you're not allowed to do that. But all the shit that I'm saying is based in reality, and they're offshoots of reality. They go into unreality. They go into uncertainty. They're offshoots. They're based in reality, though. For you to come to me and like look at all this shit I'm saying and say that's just bullshit. If you do that, you're crazy. You're out of your fucking mind. You look at what I'm doing and you say it's bullshit. You're just bringing bullshit into the situation where there was none to begin with, because like you can't declare, especially if I have lots of shit to say, you know, and especially if I have a lot of bullshit to say, because you're just bringing craziness into the situation where there wasn't one to begin with. I'm like, oh, let's introduce that. Well, you're crazy for wanting to bring craziness into this or to declare it. That's what you want me to be? You want me to be somebody who's saying all of this completely outside of reality? Like, how insane would I have to be to say all these things that I do on this podcast? Now, and I'm just going after a hypothetical person who looks at the things I'm doing and says, nah, he doesn't mean any of that. Which is not, there isn't necessarily that person out there. It's a person I created in my own mind because I'm crazy and the things I say are bullshit. But like, it's just that is kind of like generally a response that people would have, like, but you don't, I mean, like, we don't know what that means because none of us know. We can't evaluate that because because I'm not like a doctor or whatever. I don't have the standards. I'm not a professor of philosophy. So it's like, well, you're just like talking out of your ass, whatever. You know, I mean, you get how that would be, how what I do could be construed that way. But I'm saying if you say, you think that everything I do is just like off in nonsense land, that's how you're completely crazy to think that that person could exist like that. And you're the crazy. It's just, but it's like, when people say that I'm weird, or they try to tell me like, they tried to tell me that I'm weird. You didn't need to. You're weird. You're weird for bringing that up, because I wasn't about to call you weird. I wasn't gonna. You know why I wasn't gonna call you weird? It's because I can tell that you exist in reality. It's because like I know that we're already here. It's the same thing as like, it's the same as people might criticize you for being a kid, or that like you're a kid or you don't know what you're doing, or like when people want to step in and give you advice, like they're above you. Like, you don't know what you're doing. It's like, no, because I've been on the earth for however many years. Of course, I already know what I'm doing. Where people want to call you crazy, like, oh, you don't even exist. Whatever you've been doing all of your life doesn't matter. Like, you're basing it off of a lie. Like, you never even began because you don't realize reality. And it's like, you're fucking crazy to suggest that I never began, or like, you know, that I don't know what I'm doing in my life. Like, when all of us, the only place I've ever been my entire life is in this world. So I'm saying anybody criticizing anyone else for being a kid when they're like 30, like, you're not, they've been on the earth, like, trust that they've been on the earth. That's the only place all of us have been. That's the game that all of us, that's the only thing we've been doing. We've been gaining knowledge about like what it's like to be on the earth. So like, to like step in and act like people need to learn their lesson, or they don't think about that. Like, everybody learns their lesson whenever they fuck up. Everybody learns the lesson, and they don't need to be told about it because it happens automatically. You're constantly just like learning, self-correcting. For people to make it a thing about like, oh, you need to get better in your life, or like you're not in the right place, or whatever you weren't doing. Like, I mean, there's different people have different rates of being successful or whatever, self-correcting so that they get better. But like, generally people know because they've been on the earth. Like, all that we've been doing every day is gaining all kinds of experience in like earth experiences about like losing and winning and learning lessons. So it's not really a thing that needs to be brought up about learning a lesson. That's why education is stupid, because we don't like, I mean, education is just like, we chose these 6 things and then that's what's important. But like, you say that I'm weird. I was sitting in my car and eating, I got some food. I parked in a random parking lot, and like I tried to find an empty parking lot near the place I got the food at the drive-thru, and then I was just eating in my car, and this guy rode by on his bike, and he said he saw me in my car. He's like, "Look at that, a weirdo just sitting there." That's what he said to me, and as he drove by on his bike. And I thought about it for a while because I was like, yeah, because the thing is that I take criticism seriously, like every time, and that is because I am very competitive. And because I'm competitive, I don't allow myself to view criticism like it doesn't mean anything. Like, oh, that's an attack. Like, I'm different from everybody. Everybody is different from everybody else. So, like, I like to do that. Not that I like to do it. It's just the way that I am. That's just the way that I do it. I can't stop myself. Like, and it's because I believe that competition is better than sameness. I think it's healthier. And so if somebody says something like that to me, I'm just like, I think about it. He said that. I thought about it like, yeah, I guess like I just found a parking lot and I was sitting in it to eat. And so that's a little weird that, because you wouldn't necessarily find me in any parking lot or whatever. It's like I picked a random parking lot, like it's random that I was sitting there, you know? And so I thought about it like, yeah, I guess that makes me weird. But then I thought about it longer and I'm like, no, because in reality, it's like, how about the weirdo on his bike that's like needs to tell somebody else that they're weird for doing a fairly common activity? Or it's like, he's not associated with anything near the place. He was just like a homeless person, basically. But it's like, the homeless people will be more prone to do something like that, just criticize you for nothing. Like, you're a loser if you criticize strangers, like people you don't even know, out in public, because like in public you're supposed to be nice, and like if you criticize the working man, you're a loser, you're an idiot. Like if you criticize somebody while they are working, when you're not working, you're an idiot that's really not societal, and society's not going to like you. So like I see with a lot of homeless people, they're just like they're throwing out criticism that's completely unnecessary, and it's like that's kind of speaks to why you're in the position you're in, is because you maybe nobody told them that criticism is real, you know? It's like, well, people get affected by that, they get angry. Like maybe homeless people, they just don't know that they're rubbing everybody the wrong way. But it's like, in reality, it's weirdo. You're a weirdo on your bike. Like, you need to go out of your way to tell somebody else that they're weird? You're bringing that into the situation. Nothing weird was happening. But that's like always the fucking people who bring up weird are the weird ones, because it'll be like, I'm doing something normal or just trying to be normal. But then because of like my presence or whatever, I'm very aware of the environment, or like I'm sensitive to it. So like I'm kind of paranoid. Like, oh, I'm aware of people around me, and I'm always trying to make it like, oh no, I'm not aware. And so it's like, whatever that fucking thing is. And people might want to comment to me, talk shit to me, say it in passing, or just say to my face, like, you're weird. When it's like, no, I was just like standing in line at the thing. I was just standing in line. I didn't do anything weird. You're weird for being like, you're apparently holding everybody to this specific standard of like, well, they have to be unaware of their circumstances enough to just like not be socially anxious enough to just play off everything. Like everybody has to be so cool that social anxiety doesn't enter the equation or whatever. And that's something that we're always going after in society, are the socially anxious. And so it might rise up for a minute. They're like, we need more awareness for anxiety. But then it gets back to like the way it is currently, where it's like, no, it's actually cool to be cool, and you don't get to be weird. Like, like the adult world is weirder than the kid world, because in the kid world, you just get criticized and that's what you are. In the adult world, you get criticized, but it's like, I have to think about in the adult world, it's so much weirder because all of the adults have to act like they didn't feel bad about getting made fun of. But it's only the adults that care about getting made fun of because they're the ones that have all these standards that separate them from children. The older you get, the more that you want to be dignified. And it's something that you have to do as you get older because you're expected to make money and provide for yourself as you get older. You have to be a money-making entity. You have to materialize yourself. And this is the same thing as aging. This is what aging is. Aging is almost like a social narration, peer-to-peer, that happens person to person across all persons. It's a standard that we're holding each other to. It's an expectation, aging, where you are expected to grow older. You're expected to get older, and it's just like the process of adulteration is what it is. Adulteration is being made aware of your shit. And, like, too much. So, like, when you're a kid, you're not aware of any of that. So it doesn't matter. But as you get older, that is when you're collecting criticism and you're using it to your advantage to separate yourself from other people so you can be a specific identified brand different from others. And so, like, adults are the only ones that care about criticism because they're the only ones that have these, like, standards, like, that have identities. Just like my identity is important. And it's like, in my opinion, identity is the problem. Always. No matter what. It's always the problem. And by that I mean, like, viewing two people as the exact same, or like I reference Donald Trump on this podcast. People are like, you're comparing yourself to Donald Trump. You think you are him? You're the same as him? Identities. It's not. I'm different. That's why we developed languages, that we could pinpoint all of these different instances and people and give different words to them. That's why we talk at all. It's to say that things are different from each other. Identity is always the problem. But, like, that's why adults get insecure. Is because they have to have identities, and in order to make money. And it's like, it becomes this weird, scary thing. And then, like, if it comes to light that you hear something, you get criticized in a way that it's like you are made to look like some other person in a different territory that you were separating yourself from, then you have to change your boundaries to become like that person, and that's difficult. That's like what anxiety, that takes work. It's exhausting. That's what anxiety is like the calling for you to change because you heard words that mean you have to change the way that you are. It's like sometimes you can't deny the meaning that's found in the words that somebody else shares with you. It's much more that is the case than I don't listen to criticism. I don't listen to critics. But, like, it's just that the criticism is everywhere. And you gotta, it's just like adults are the ones that are insecure because they have the standards already. And so I'm just like of the position of, but I just like got to deal with, as I get older, it's weirder. I look at Jelly Roll and his audience and I have to be like when I was a kid, I could have just been like, Jelly Roll's stupid. Fuck him and his audience. But now, as I'm an adult, I have to like respect the game the same, because he's like somebody who's like me, who's trying and he has a hustle, and more importantly, he's doing a lot better than me and he found an audience. And like, I have to think about this as I get older. It's like all of these money-making, business-related things about like why Jelly Roll gets an audience. It's because it's kind of like he's criticizing them. And these things I would have never thought about before. It's because his audience is like flawed in the same way Jelly Roll is, but Jelly Roll is speaking up for all of these people that are like from the lower class and have stories that are bad for them, and that have stories like their life is shitty or whatever. Something bad happened with their relationship with their spouse or whatever, like divorces and all kinds of shit. And it's basically like, I'm talking about how it seems like in order for anybody to get an audience, and I'm just using Jelly Roll as an example, you have to be like criticizing the people that are your fans. Like you do it better. Jelly Roll does it better than all of his fans. He does the same thing as them. He just does it better. And that's like, he's a critic of them, but he's just the best one. He criticizes his audience. That's how he has an audience at all. It's because he's taking a bite out of the market that didn't exist before. It's like he's collecting all of these people, galvanizing them all in a specific direction, but like it's only the direction that is related to what he can do, what he brings to the table as Jelly Roll. But it's like I gotta deal with that. Jelly Roll does that. He has to separate himself musically in this certain kind of way, even though he's like, I mean, whatever, he's doing a good job. Wow, good job, Jelly Roll. Damn. But like, life is hard for Jelly Roll because he's fat. But it's like how hard it is, how sad is Jelly Roll? That's what his audience is. It's like a bunch of people that are sad. They get together to be really sad about how tragic their lives are because they're in the lower class because of the tragedy and like all this shit, like bad luck shit that happened to them. Like Jelly Roll does all of that, but he just like does it better. And I mean, it's possible he's just a phony and he was like rich his entire life too, you know. But it's like but maybe something sad enough. Why is Jelly Roll so sad? But like, of course Jelly Roll is gonna happen. You can't stop Jelly Roll. You can't deny that. Like, somebody had to take that name. Somebody had to be Jelly Roll. Like, he went that far. That's why I would make fun of him. Because like, you're Jelly Roll. That should be pretty easy to poke and make fun of. Like, his argument should fall apart pretty quickly. He's Jelly Roll. I just like that, how sad that is. Like, I guess a Jelly Roll is sad in real life. I think in order for him to be as successful as he is, he has to be an accurate representation of his title. Like, literally, like, there is something Jelly Roll about. I don't even know what a Jelly Roll is. Is that like a jelly donut? A Jelly Roll. But there's cryptic. It's cryptic because I don't know what a Jelly Roll is. Because I don't know what a Jelly Roll is. I don't know. I try to get to the basis of what he's doing, and I can't figure it out. And it's like, so then he gets to last longer because we're not able to define Jelly Roll. But somebody had to do, like, obviously somebody was going to be Jelly Roll. You can't deny Jelly Roll. You can't deny that existence. I can't deny Jelly Roll. And it is in our life, like, the thing, the pastry, or the guy. But now that he is, I'm wondering, like, that's funny that food must be sad as well. Because that's the way that I'm like, that must, and it makes sense because like it's Jelly Roll, it must be pathetic. Like, why is Jelly Roll the guy always so weepy? Like, that's his whole thing, is like, I can't stop crying, because that's what his audience is. The people that can't stop crying. Why are you crying so much? Stop crying. Jelly Roll's like, I wanna make more tears. Jelly Roll's like, tears are what make this country go around. I don't know. He's just flying by the seam of his pants, seat of his pants. That Jelly Roll would come to wear pants was not something that I would have been able to predict when I was younger. Jelly Roll is a man. One day in the future, Jelly Roll will be a man. It won't just be a pastry. That's what I would have said to myself if I could have traveled back in time. That's the one thing. I've been like, Jelly Roll will be a man as well as a pastry in the future. And then I'm like, could you tell me something else? And then my future self is like, I don't like you. And then he leaves. I don't know. I wonder what I would say to myself. Probably fucking nothing, because I don't want to change a thing. I don't want to miss a thing. I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep, 'cause I miss you, babe. And I don't want to miss a thing. I don't want to miss a thing. I want to hyper focus on everything. I don't want to miss a thing. Every single second, every time you breathe, I want to be there. Don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to blink. I want to hyper focus. Just take Adderall. Don't make that song. Don't sing that song. Don't close my eye hole. Don't want to close my eye holes. I don't want to fall asleep. Go get some sleep, dude. Don't write that song about always staying awake like you're on Adderall. I want to be on Adderall. I can't miss a single fucking thing you do. It's a very strange relationship I have. It's an unhealthy addiction I have to your personality. I don't want to close my eyes. No. It's very weird. It's killing me how much I have to look at you all the time because I don't want to miss a thing. I ain't never wanna miss no things. Ain't never wanna miss no thing about it, girl. I don't wanna close my eyes and no. I don't wanna close my eyes, no. Yeah. I don't want to fall asleep, 'cause I miss you, baby. And I don't want to think. I don't close my eyes. I don't want to close my ass. I want to keep it open all the time so that when a shit is ready, it just falls out of my pants onto the ground. I don't want a tight asshole. I want it open and loose so that people know that I don't even give a shit. I give the most shits possible because I don't give a shit about having a tight asshole. And that's the way that I lined it up for myself. I was making preparations. Preparation H, is that the same thing? Is that in the same line? I don't know all of my medications, but I don't think. I was making preparations to have the loosest asshole. Yeah. So I could communicate more profoundly that I gave fewer shits than everybody else by giving the most of them. And I don't want to miss a thing. And no. Yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah. I think that when it comes down to it, that like, when it comes down to it, I raise the happiness on my own. Here I am. I think when it comes down to it, when you think about it, when we really think about it, and when you really think about it, and so, like, when you really think about it, okay, so then, and in conclusion, here's the thing, is that I believe that I'm going to delete all of the episodes where, the episode titled The Antichrist, where I said I was the Antichrist, and then episodes after that where I commented on it, I'm going to delete all of those because it has gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, wait, I can just delete all of those because I don't want them muddying up my podcast. And that is a gift that I give to everybody, is that I delete those episodes. And now I'm not that. Now I never was. Now there was no evidence. I don't even care. I don't even care about whatever being the Antichrist. But I mean, in the future, sure, I'd say it again if I wanted to. But I'm just like, just like. But the reason that I do it is because I don't want to die and then I don't want to become the Antichrist and then like have that happen for real. Or anything, or like when I die, I don't want it to get back to me when I die, that like my soul gets trapped on Earth. Like I want to leave Earth when I die, so I'm like preparing for my death. I'm like, when I die, I don't want to find out that there was some rule that I couldn't say I was an Antichrist. So I'm deleting all of that and like because I don't want my soul to be trapped here on Earth. And so like I'm just like, I've washed my hands of this. I didn't don't want to be trapped. I don't want to be here after I die. I want to move on to the next thing because like the Earth is not that great that I would devote that much of myself to it. I realize like what if I became that? then I'm fucking detained to the earth for all of my existence. Because like, oh, that's really where I made my kingdom. If that's the case, if people recognize me as something that big, but like, no more, nope, because I want to move on when I'm dead. Thank you very much. Bye.